why don't we, in a company not succeeding, the day-to-day things that you have to do to make that happen. We are live right now, and Tessa's not giving her normal intro because this is not
the title.
Because she doesn't even have a title. The reason she doesn't have a title is because I'm just going to talk about whatever I want to, and she's going to go along for the ride. And I think it's going to be a good experience for everybody because I get to ramble, and hopefully in that rambling, we're going to get to talk about a few things that turn out to be important. Fair enough?
Sounds good to me. Sounds like a challenge.
Okay, so this is Tessa. She's the director of marketing, and I get to do Facebook Lives with her every Friday. Hi, Tessa.
That's right. That's how I introduce myself to partners. That's true.
That's right. So
and
hello,
I say
everybody.
Get to, not have to.
Yes, you said have to before. I corrected
Maybe
you.
once on accident.
Yes, by accident, on purpose. So let's not talk about English grammar. Let's talk about taking a company and actually doing something with it. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So you could have two companies that have exactly the same type of products, doing exactly the same type of thing, reaching exactly the same types of customers. And one of them will be wildly successful, and the other one will fall flat on its face. So just in that one little statement, you know, it's not the product, it's not the customer, it's the execution, right? So you can have a business literally doing anything. And if you don't understand on a continual basis what your customers need and what you have to offer them and why that's going to be better, or at least perceived to be better than what any other competitor has, then you're never going to get anywhere with any of those customers. It's all about knowledge. And the knowledge that we gain is knowledge that we need to keep, and knowledge that we have to keep going back to that well to get newer and newer information, because information changes, competition changes, consumer behavior changes. And if you don't stay on top of it, then you're not going to change. And when you don't change, you're going to die. And that's why before we started recording this, I talked about, we could talk about life or death, because that's part of the life or death of an organization, right? So
I got you now. I thought you were going all philosophical on me.
well, no. Well, in a sense I am, because the philosophy of an organization is going to be what makes it thrive. And the philosophy starts at the top. How the leadership or sole proprietor, whatever it is, the people at the top, what they feel about the business they're doing, how they want to conduct that business, and the value that they want to give to the people who need that business. The philosophy of an organization starts at the top, and it needs to really bleed through in every single thing that you do, because you have to be true to what your belief system is, right? Philosophy, your belief system is the core value proposition of your organization and how that is given to the people who need it. And if you don't stick true to that philosophy, if you're agnostic or a philosophy atheist in business, you can do all that in religion if you want to. Can't do that in business, because you will not pay in the hereafter. You will pay here and now in business if you don't follow what you need to follow, which is at the core value proposition of you as an individual and what your organization is going to give out to others.
I think it's really
follow me so far?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more on the core values, and having those core values continue through in the people that you're hiring, making sure that aligns, because if it doesn't align or something's off, you're gonna feel it in the business for sure.
And that's why sometimes as leaders, you have to make very difficult situations better by making them worse in the short term. For example, if you have to fire people that are not following that philosophy, you have to move people around to find the right resources for the things that you want to do when you want to do them. Whatever it is, the fact of painting this perfect painting can't be done unless everybody's using the same stroke, the same paint, the same process, and knows what they're trying to get to with the finished product, right? So it's a group effort, and you can't have a group effort if the group doesn't understand the underlying philosophy of you as a person and your organization beneath you.
I just had this amazing activity we can do as a company, Fred. We could just have everyone paint a picture of what they think IdeaPros is about and see if we all match up or not. He's like, no, that's not a good option.
Yeah,
no, but the thing is, though, you're communicating from the top all this information to the whole team so that everyone knows, like, this is our core values, this is our mission statement, this is what's most important to us. And without those, if the team is confused, then what they're producing will be aligned with what they think is most important, not what the company, what you want as the company business owner for your team, your marketing team, your all the different areas, the customer service even, right? So everyone has to be communicating for that to accurately come out with the same information.
Oh yeah, and it is a challenge, and people who are our partners understand it's a challenge. I've been in business over 30 years, and we have difficulties, and I'm running into fires that we have to put out all the time. So it's not something you can say and it magically happens. It's something that you're battling all the time. Things, I can promise you this, things are never going to be right all the time. There will be a lot of things that go wrong often. And it's by having that fortitude, that commitment, that philosophical need to make everything the way that you envisioned it, that is what is going to be the main factor in getting you through, because everything changes and nothing, it's like business is like playing a game of corporate telephone, right? Have you ever played that game?
Almost thought about that.
Right? You just spread the word down here and it goes all the way down the chain, and by the time it gets to the end, what the hell were they talking about, right? Instead, if you're a good leader, if you have good philosophy, you want to be able to broadcast that message instead of sending it down the pipeline. The VPs, directors, managers, right? You want to be able to take your message and make sure that it's heard loud and clear throughout the organization, so that your philosophy, the way you want to do things, resonates so people can understand and people can act out on it. That's the internal part of it, right? You have to have that structure, that internal structure. If you don't have it, you're not going to succeed. Or at the very best case scenario, you're not going to succeed for a long period of time. The external part of that is to always be mindful that, number one, your philosophy needs to be relevant, because you have a business, and that business serves others, and you need to find the right people so that philosophy that you have resonates with them. That's why Apple people, for example, resonate with Apple for certain reasons, right? In spite of the fact an Apple computer may cost 75% more. An iPhone may be a year or two behind Samsung in some of the technologies, right? The iPhone just came out with 4K. Samsung has 8K. The top line iPhone just came out with, I think it's 50 megapixel pictures. Samsung has 108 megapixel, right? And so,
loves to debate this too, because I'm like, you need an iPhone. He's like, no, I need the Samsung because it's got all these additional features.
But the reality is that you were cringing as I was saying that, because you're an iPhone user and you have resonated with the philosophy of that organization. They've done an incredible job. I'm not going to say hoodwinking you, but incredible job making you part of that tribe, right? So, and I've talked about this a lot, when you can take people and make them passionate advocates of your brand. Fred needs to get an iPhone. That's a passionate advocate. That's not somebody who just loves iPhones. Fred has to have one. Then you've done a really good job taking your philosophy and pouring it out onto the people who are your customers. So that's a glowing example of an organization that understands what I'm talking about and it puts it in practice every single day. So you could probably ask any Apple employee, you know, what they're all about, what's their why statement, and people would know that, and people would understand the answer to that, and therefore that gets projected out to the consumers, who in turn try to project it out onto others because they do so successfully.
That's in a number of areas. So when you, as a business, as a small business owner, you can do that by posting your mission statement in places where your team sees it. You can do it by having regular team meetings and making sure that you're asking them to define it, which I think Fred has actually done to me before. What are we trying to do here, Tessa? What's our mission? So you can ask people or quiz them. And what other ways do you think that we can instill that internally and externally?
By actions. For example, let's suppose you're sitting on the Starbucks board of directors and you have one of the senior vice presidents just came up and has all this documentation where she's going to prove to the whole board that there is a gigantic market for 99-cent coffee. And if Starbucks had a 99-cent option, they could increase their revenue by 25%. The reality is that board of directors is going to look at that and say, that's not what we're all about. We're not all about 99-cent coffee. You can get that at 7-Eleven. We're about an experience. We're about trying to project this image, project this philosophy that coffee is about working and communing with others and taking a break and part of your day. And you don't get that with 99 cents because the perceived experience doesn't equate to 99 cents. If I pay 99 cents for this coffee, I'm not going to have all the other stuff that goes with it, right? So that's an example of how philosophy will dictate what you do through your actions as an organization and how you kind of steer in a very straight direction. By the way, I'm coughing again because the medicine I finally got that fixed my cough comes from Mexico, and I couldn't have it for 3 weeks, but now I got it and I'm going to get better again. So I know anybody worried about it, I'm good.
Okay.
So the point is you have to figure out what that philosophy is and stick true to it. So many entrepreneurs, when they're starting out, they just want to make money. How can I make money fast? Because I've spent money starting this company. I quit my job. I'm not making any money now. What am I going to do to survive? And you end up polluting what it is that you're going to be as an organization. And therefore, if you succeed, you're going to succeed in a very small way. You're not going to succeed in a big way because you're not true to yourself.
Right. They compromise, right? So that's a lot of what the polluting happens when you have to compromise or you take a path because it's easiest or it pays. But it's hard to keep your brand solid. It's hard to keep that philosophy, that core belief in your business, and you have to keep gently reminding and keep realigning your team in that one direction.
Yeah, and look, most of the time it's not intentional. It's not like the average entrepreneur doesn't feel that they're compromising on anything if they're all of a sudden they're going this way and, oh, wow, if I sell these 7 other things, then I can make a lot more money. They don't think that they're compromising because they don't understand the correlation between your core value system, your philosophical value to your business and success. We don't understand those two things. We get very opportunistic. And so it's not like, oh my God, this is my core value system. If I go here, I'm violating these principles. We don't even think that far ahead. We're just like, what are other ways I can make money? Oh, I'm selling this product here, my golden widget. Oh, if I sell golden widget t-shirts, I can make an extra 50 cents. And that may be a short-term benefit, but it's going to be a long-term distraction and pollution, as you said, of your name, of your brand, what you stand for, the message that you're trying, the Apple message. that you're trying to get out to your customers.
And it confuses your audience too. So your audience is like, well, I don't understand. What is this? What is this? Now I see this over here. So occasionally adding those things in, though that they might be a short-term fix, they might actually be causing other people not to take a step because now they've lost faith in you.
Right. They don't know what you're doing. They're going to the dollar store instead of the Ferrari dealership, right?
Right.
You're getting everything you want. There's no value proposition. You're not able, when you go in several different directions, you're not able to distinguish your brand from others. You're not able to show why you're superior, why somebody should have you as opposed to your competition. You can't possibly do that because you can't be a master of all these different things, especially as a small organization when you're starting out.
That's wonderful. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with us before we take off for today?
Yeah.
Because I know I know you've got a wealth of information. You said we were just going to talk about what you want. So I didn't know if you needed to talk about some more topics.
Yeah, no, I'll end where I started, that this is a continual process, right? That internally you have to project, you have to figure out that philosophy, you have to project it, right? We think that everybody gets it when we say it once. And by the way, I'm guilty of this too. It's really hard when you're sitting in an environment where people are all over the country and people are working from home and you have limited time with each one of your employees. It's really hard to make sure that people understand this day in and day out. It's difficult, if not impossible. So you have to be vigilant because it's so critically important. We don't think of it as important, right? For the most part. Feel, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're going to go have bonding experiences and stuff with a company, big deal. But it is a big deal because through those opportunities, through those experiences, whether they're virtual or real, you get an opportunity to double down on what you're all about, what the company's all about, and make sure that the people who are the most important to you really understand that. So you got to keep doubling down. And then on the outside, you have to stay on top of the game, as I said in the beginning. You know, what are the competitors doing? How are you going to be different? Why is your philosophy better? Is there something about what you're doing that you can exploit? I'm Apple. I have these other computers that are better than me, but I have this customer service. I'm really easy to use. I'm dependable. You can, if you buy my computer, every single thing that you have Apple is all coordinated and works together, right? So you have to figure out what gives you that advantage, make sure that your consumers understand that and that they become these passionate advocates of your brand. And you have to keep finger on the pulse all the time because consumer behavior changes. Great example of that is not entrepreneurial in a sense, but like the nightclub business or the restaurant business, right? You have this hot new restaurant that's out and everybody flocks there. And then like 8 months later, the place is half empty because it's gotten stale, it's gotten boring, it's gotten old. And you have to find ways to keep your community engaged, keep them happy. And that way they keep opening up their wallet for you and making you happy as well.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Fred. That's great advice. And as always, we are here every Friday at noon Pacific time. So we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to hit the bell to get reminders when we go live or fill out the form in the post that will get you to our Q&A section or to our text reminders. It's way easier to have it come to your cell phone so that you can just pop over and or watch it later if you want. So we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye, Fred. Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Tessa.